Pompey Sound, your hourly update from Fratton Park, sponsored by Piglet's Pantry, the home of award-winning and handmade food on the South Coast.
Rich Hughes stands firm that Portsmouth FC won't back down from making tough calls on players when it's in the club's best interest. The club is currently wrapping up their retained list, with several key players' contracts expiring this summer, including Yengi, Swanson, Killip, and Bramall. Last season's League One title celebrations were bittersweet for some fans when the club parted ways with fan favourites Sean Raggett and Joe Rafferty. But Hughes had a clear vision, bringing in 15 new faces last summer as Pompey geared up for their first championship season in over a decade. The shake-up continued with 8 more signings in January, and it's paid off. Messinho's squad secured championship survival with games to spare, finishing a respectable 16th. Hughes is straightforward about the club's approach. "We're here to make the big calls, even when they're not popular," he told the News. "Just like John picks his team to win games, when we sign or release players, it's always with the club's future in mind."
Yes, was it early this season or towards the end of last season that John Messino said, "I'm not here to make friends, I'm here to win games"? And that is what we want. Whilst we have plenty of sentimentality, and that's a good thing, about players who we have cheered on, roared on, celebrated with, commiserated with for any amount of time, they only have to be playing in a blue shirt for a few games and we feel as though they're one of ours. Then, and if you ever heard the Mick Robertson excellent piece about this, they're gone and we almost forget what they look like. That's how it is. You know, it is what it is, as Postecoglou likes to say. What it means, though, for us fans is that we have to gear ourselves up to the fact that some players will be leaving and we will feel as though perhaps they could have stayed. Our judgment is that they were just nearly very, very good enough, but not quite, perhaps, we understand. Now, John Messino and the team have to make cold, hard, clear decisions about that. You have a player who is nearly. You think that with the right coaching you can get that player across the line and he can become a little bit more than nearly. He can become almost it. But that's going to take a lot of hard work. And you've got to make the judgment on whether that player has the potential to go from being nearly and crossing over the line in the sand and becoming the beginnings of an it. And has he got time to do that? He probably has compared to most of the other managers in the Championship, because I think they're down to 3 now who have been with their clubs for any length of time at all. The turnover in managers in the Championship, I don't know what it's like in the Premier League and League One and League Two, but in the Championship it's absurd. Absolutely absurd. And John Messino's on record as saying how grateful he is that the owners have persevered with him, because plenty of other owners would have let him go. And he wants to stay. He's got a job to do and he wants to finish it. Now, you might think that finishing the job is getting us into the Premier League. You might think that finishing that job is getting us into the Premier League and keeping us in the Premier League such that we begin to look like Brentford or Bournemouth, who've come from the same places that we are coming from and are now serious Premier League players. That may be his ambition. Only he knows. And he's realistic enough to have more than one plan. You have to have more than one plan. Because as the great German military tactician, what was his name? Melby or so, Melter, someone like that, said, the battle plan is immediately dispensed with the moment you first meet the enemy. And John Messino will have a few battle plans, but events, dear boy, events will overtake them. However, he knows what he wants to do at Pompey, and that's the key. And so he will make decisions on our behalf that may sadden us a little. And I bet you that come the end of the week when those announcements are made, there will be at least one, I'm guessing, that will raise eyebrows and make us think, really? Really? But he is the man who makes the decisions. And as the guy says in Moneyball, he answers only to the owners and God.
Josh Murphy has been nothing short of a saviour for Portsmouth this season, according to Ryan Dilks from the Second Tier podcast, who argues the winger deserved a spot in the Championship team of the season. The 30-year-old has been a revelation since his free transfer from Oxford United last summer, lighting up Fratton Park with 7 goals and 14 assists in his debut campaign. His impact helped keep Pompey well clear of the relegation scrap under John Mazzino. Those numbers put Murphy in elite company. Only 5 players in the Championship have more goal contributions than his tally of 21, including the likes of Leeds United's Joel Pirro and Manor Salomon, and Middlesbrough's Finn Azaz. While Norwich City's Borja Sainz got the nod as left winger in the official Championship team of the season, Murphy's performances haven't gone unnoticed by the second-tier pod, who included him in their lineup. He's been an absolute revelation, Dilks said on the podcast. We might raise some eyebrows with this pick, but look at what he's done at Portsmouth. He's not surrounded by Premier League quality players like some others in the division. Without him, I genuinely believe Pompey would have gone down. Fellow host Justin Peach admitted he had to eat his words after initially doubting the signing. I'll hold my hands up. I thought it was a terrible move last summer. But he stepped up time and again, especially when we lost Colby Bishop and Callum Lang to injuries. The goals he scored, like that 30-yard stunner against Preston, and his assists, have been crucial. To come up from League One and perform like this in the Championship, at Portsmouth of all places where chances are harder to come by, it's been remarkable.
Well, guys, it's nice to hear you eating your words and eating humble pie. Don't like the little side swipes at Pompey about the fact that our man Murphs isn't surrounded by Premier League players. There's not a lot of daylight between us and Leeds, mates, guys, is there? Leeds may have won the league, but they couldn't get past us. We're a good side. He's surrounded by good players. He himself has been this season a very, very good player. He's better at football than you guys are at predicting. But we enjoy controversy, we enjoy opinion, we enjoy people saying things and making a note of them and saying to ourselves, well, we hope that we're going to prove you wrong. So if that's what you're up to, fair play. Absolutely fair play. But, there is no excuse for saying to come up from League One and perform like this in the Championship at Portsmouth of all places, where chances are harder to come by. Yeah, okay, they are away, but at home, mate, we're more than playoff potential. So just bear that in mind, you guys. And thank you for helping us give Josh Murphy yet another pat on the back for an incredible season. Didn't he do well? As the waiting goes on for those Pompey players whose futures are less than 100% certain, Christian Sadie, for one, has nailed his colours to the mast.
In football, you always want more. Even if you are starting and scoring goals, you still want to score more. I always want to do more. I always have people around me, like my big brother Matt Ritchie. He's always pushing me. I want to score more goals. I want more playing time, but I know my role in the team, and hopefully if I get the chance to push on, then I can get there in the end. I am happy at Pompey, 100%. I love everyone around it, the best fans in the league, good people around me, the staff, the players are close. I wouldn't want it any other way. If I can add to my tally and become more of an impact in the team, starting a few more games, then I'd be even more happy.
We like Christian Sadie. I'm absolutely not alone among Pompey fans in saying that Sadie is a favourite. When he comes on, he brings us something that nobody else in the team can. How many times have we come out onto the pitch at 3 o'clock on a Saturday afternoon and seen that the other side is 2 stone heavier than us per man and 4 inches taller? Plenty of times. How many times have we been bullied off the ball? Been bullied on the ball? I mean, football is a man's game. Played as a man's sport, it's a man's game. And that means that there's an element of combat about it. As well as skill and imagination and tactical nous, there is an element of combat about it. So many of those 50-50s, so many of those heading duels are all about impact and strength. And I'm taking nothing away from the women's game. I'm aware it might sound like it to some when I say that their game has a different physicality. It is physical, yes. It does call for strength and stamina, of course it does, and all the other attributes that a footballer must have. But the need to be big enough and strong enough, as well as quick enough, in the Championship is pronounced. And some of our players aren't quite as big and strong as many of the players on the opposition teams that we faced this season and last season in League One. But when Sadie comes on, there is a marked change in the atmosphere of the game because the opposition recognise that if they go 50-50 toe-to-toe with him, they'll come off second best. And they usually do. In fact, I can't remember anybody out-muscling Christian Sadie. And it's a useful attribute to have, not only in terms of winning the ball and keeping the ball, but also imposing your team on the other team. Marlon Pack, at his very best, can do that as well. Connor Ogilvie is afraid of no one. There's nobody on the Pompey side who's afraid of anyone, but it's a simple matter of, my dad was an excellent boxer. He was Newcastle Boxing Boys champion 4 years in a row. That's Newcastle, mind you. He was hard, and he always used to say, a good big un will beat a good little un. And that's the case for Christian Sadie. Would we welcome him back? Most fans would. But it's likely to be as an impact substitute, and that may not be good enough for him. May not even be good enough for John Messino. These are difficult times at Fratton Park behind the scenes, with discussions going on with players who've got bills to pay and mortgages to upkeep and family to look after. And one can only hope that people such as Christian Sadie, who no doubt are doing plenty of serious thinking and talking, keep their equilibrium with it all, because it must be very stressful. But Christian, whatever happens with you, we love you and always will.